I'm Ron Lowenthal. I'm a beekeeper for More Bees, and I'm here with Laura Brixey, who is the author of Singed Miracles, and her husband, Richard. And we are a new offering that we're going to bring out at our events, and we wanted to share this with the community. It's a very interesting story about an event that happened with a guy that I worked with for many, many years. And so now I'd like to let you talk to them. So, Laura, why don't you tell us a little about the book?
There was so many wonderful things that happened that I wanted to record them. I didn't want them to be lost. I wanted people to know about them and to know about the goodness of God and to know that there is hope at the end of a tragedy, that people can actually come through a horrible situation and be in peace throughout the whole thing.
And knowing Brixey for all the years I've known him, I mean, I never realized all of what he went through and the experience, because he's, just the most happy person. He's always got a positive spin on everything. And, when I read the book, kind of weird thing that really touched me was you had a kind of line in there about handicapped. And of all the people in the world I've met, I've never ever would have considered Richard handicapped.
He never considers himself handicapped.
He's more functional than most people I know, so I find it very inspirational, and I really enjoyed that take on it.
He actually got a handicap sticker, or a little tag for the car, and almost never used it. Because part of both of his feet are missing. And that took a little while for that to heal.
Yeah, and then the other thing I noticed, and this I kind of saw him when we were working and stuff, he's always a go go guy. But
that's part of what caused this problem.
But I think that was kind of one of his challenges too. Is that it helped. I think from what I can tell, helped him heal and get going quicker. But I'm guessing that must have created some challenges too for you.
Oh, it did. He'd see things that needed to be done. He got out of rehab at the end of the first week of February. Well, by the end of February, the peas need to be put in. Well, middle of February, he had MRSA, and he had a PICC line put in, and he had a pump. And he soon learned that you didn't have to lay for 2 hours while that medicine was pumped into the body. So he figured out a way to hook that pump onto his belt and go out and water the garden. And how hard it is to rotor till. Well, he was out there with a cast on with that MRSA, but he kept it clean. He put a plastic bag over it, secured with rubber bands. Yeah, so he was out there rotor tilling the garden because the bees had to go in real soon, Yeah,
being a beekeeper, I totally understand that there's a cycle to nature. There's things you have to do, and you have to respect nature's timing.
And peas had to be put in.
The power company sent us a letter and asked us to trim this tree, and they'd always trimmed that tree before, so I ignored the letter for a while. Then usually in the winter I do work because there's not less yard work. So this tree had 2 tops, so the week before I went up and cut one of the tops out, and then I came up to do this one, and I realized I was leaning towards the electrical lines, and there's a fiber optic line over there. So we wanted to rope it, the top, and pull it into the yard. What else? Running out of thoughts. So I got up there as far as I could and tied off the rope, put a weight on the rope and threw it down to Laura. And I used an electric chainsaw in my left hand and began cutting that treetop off. With her pulling on the rope, the treetop just went straight down about 20 feet, hit a branch and bounced over on the power lines. I felt this feeling like you get when you get an electrical shock, like with a kid or something when that happens, and then I passed out. I was belted to the tree with 2 belts so I didn't fall out of the tree. I realized in the tree that when I woke up, I had like 1,000 images going through my brain, and I didn't know where I was. And I guess people have said that's similar to what happens when you get tasered. Anyway, so I looked over on my shirt. It was burned out at the elbow of my shirt, and I could see right down to the tendons, so I knew I'd lost that arm. I thought it was something that happened with, I didn't realize it was the power lines. I thought it was somewhat wrong with the electrical outlet on the house. So I yelled down to Laura or something, check the outlet, see what happened here. And so I stayed up there, I guess 30 to 45 minutes as they tried to get the power turned off, get the linemen to do all that. And then after that, they brought fireman came up and lowered me down with a harness kind of thing. Cut the branches off the tree and just lowered me down. Like Laura says in her book, I just saw a bunch of people in the yard that kept asking me questions. Are you okay? I'm like 35 to 50 feet up in a tree, and they kept asking me, and I was so tired that it was just really hard to answer the questions, to say, yes, I'm okay, don't bother me anymore. When I went to the hospital, this arm was all burned up on the left side. They talked to Laura. They had me knocked out, and they said that my kidneys would fail unless they removed that arm. So she finally decided that the arm had to be removed. So they took that arm off. And then in a burn injury like this, they wait for pieces to die, then they remove them. So there was multiple surgeries on the arm as pieces died. And the same thing with the feet. I lost 2 toes on the right and 1 on the left. So my right toe looked like just black, like an electrode or something that had burnt. And so they took that off, and the one next to it, and then I got burned on the ankle on the left side, and so the bone was dead back farther, so they had to take that toe off. And then I got burned in the groin, and they had to work on that. So when I had surgeries, they would work on all 3 places. I had burns on the back of my calves too, but those were just grafts.
Some of the challenges came when he couldn't stand just laying around waiting to heal. He had to get out and do something, which meant cleaning off the roof, which meant putting in, doing yard work. He also wanted to be sure to be able to go back to work, so he had to figure out a way to be able to ride a bicycle and to be able to drive. And I was up close and personal with those wounds, moving raw muscle so that I could clean out from under it, and then putting the bandages on it. I thought it was just a little bit too soon to be doing all that. Give it a little bit more time to heal. But he was in a hurry to heal and get on with life. He had already wasted 4 months in the hospital and rehab, so it was time.
Did you realize the struggle that it would take? I mean, I've never seen anybody where I work come back from that kind of, that to get back to work.
Oh, he had to contact the union to make sure that he could come back to work. There was no reason, he didn't feel there was any reason that he shouldn't be able to go back to work. As the day after he got home on a Thursday night, that Friday morning, he was on the computer ordering a one-hand typing course. So the very next day, and he ordered it, and it came in, and while he was convalescing, he was learning how to retraining himself to type one-handed.